guys, welcome back to Free Game Friday with me, Tereney. And I think I wanted to deviate a little bit from giving you guys a breakdown on a specific pose and give you guys some tips on how to keep your body safe while you're practicing yoga. After all, yoga is a healing practice, so when things start to hurt, that's when we need to really focus in on what's the key cause and how to prevent that, so that way you can go forward with making sure that you're healing the body rather than further harming it. So with that said, the main thing that I get a lot from not only students that have taken a class with me or just my own personal experience is when I first started was getting a lot of wrist pain. And that is something that can be easily alleviated by not only building the strength in your wrist, but also increasing the mobility and flexibility of your wrist by doing a few drills that'll help you, especially when you're in down dog for a prolonged amount of time. It'll help take some of that pressure off of your wrist a lot. So the focus would lie in your hands. What we tend to do when we get down onto our hands is that we tend to bring a lot of the weight right into the heel of the hand. And that's where that pain comes in, because you're now taking what all of your weight usually is on your feet, right? You're bringing it all into your hands, which aren't used to taking that much weight. So your wrists are a little weak and not able to hold that weight up. So some things that you could do, just some tips to kind of alleviate that pressure immediately, is when you're pressing your hand into the mat, you want to make sure that you press all 5 fingertips into the mat and all of your knuckle, I guess I tend to say knuckle mound, but that doesn't sound right at all, and I swear I'm blanking on the actual anatomical term, but right where your knuckle or your fingers meet your palm, you'll want to press those parts of your hand into the mat as well. So pretty much any point that touches onto the mat, you really want to press firmly into the mat. And then as far as the palm is concerned, you want to treat that like it's a suction cup. So right in that middle of my palm, you'll see it's already kind of starting to cave in. If you can see that well, I'll try to zoom in later. But that space is already starting to cave in, creating a lift that takes a lot of that pressure out and then helps me disperse it into the rest of my hand. So when I come into down dog, or even just starting at tabletop, I'm not just bringing all the weight into my wrist, but I'm pressing firmly into my fingertips and into those knuckles, and then lifting the center of my palm away to really activate the entire hand. So if I come into down dog from here by tucking the toes and sending the hips up, I'll push my hips back, and there, half of my weight is now between my hands and my feet, but I'm not feeling so much in my wrist because I have activated my entire hand at this point. So that's one way that you could help alleviate some pressure immediately. Another way would be to do some strengthening exercises. So a couple of those could just be simple. Actually, I'm sorry, before you go into strengthening exercises, I like to go through stretching first. So a couple ways that I like to stretch my wrists off of the ground are taking my palm to the back of one hand and pressing both of them into each other for a few breaths, and then switching sides. Another way would be to take the palm away from the body, extend the arm, and then place the other palm right on top and press towards your body to stretch through the underside of your wrist. And then switch sides. So some ways you could do those same things on the ground. You could come to your hands and knees and sit your hips back towards your heels, and you can turn your fingertips towards your knees and your thumbs towards the outsides of your mat. I like to come up high onto my knees and stack my shoulders over my wrist. Make sure the heel of your hand stays down onto the mat as you start to pull your shoulders back and sit your hips down. That way you're stretching through the underside of your wrist. And it gives you a little bit more pressure than it would if you're off the ground. So another way to do that would be to then flip the palms up with the fingertips facing the knees, now thumbs facing each other. Same concept, stack the shoulders right over the wrists, and then start to pull your shoulders back, sitting the hips down towards your heels, now stretching through the top side of your wrist. And then giving them a roll waking them back up, opening and closing the hands. Another good thing to do for your hands is to stretch each individual finger. Sometimes you gotta crack those knuckles a little. Yeah. And then work individual fingers, pulling one down towards the forearm, moving to the other, taking maybe a couple breaths per finger. Appendage, because I guess the thumb isn't a finger. And then making sure you go through both hands. So I'm moving a little bit quicker for time, but you get it. A couple breaths per finger / thumb. Open and close the hands, roll the wrists around. Another strengthener that I personally enjoy doing is coming up onto the fists. So I'm just creating a nice fist and flattening the tops of my knuckles and placing them right on top of the mat. I want to make sure that I keep my wrist flush with the hand. So let me face this way. So I'm not kind of bowing out my wrist this way or caving it in this way. I want to make sure it's nice and straight and strong. That's where the strength comes from when you stack your joints. So as I come to this pose here, I can stay on my knees, or if I would like, I could extend the legs out and come to a plank. Hold here for a second, come back down, rest. Come back up, and wherever you like, knees back down, rest. Another option would be coming up onto those wrists, or the fists, keep the wrist strong, and then open the hand as you lower the chest down in a kind of a push-up. Come back up, squeeze the fist. Exhale, come down, open the hand. Inhale brings you back up, squeeze the fist. That one I really do enjoy doing as well. Come back up, shake the wrist out. All right, well that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this is a helpful video for you. If you do find yourself in a class, be sure to remember these steps and remember these tips on ways to help alleviate some of that pain by activating your entire hand, and also practicing some of these wrist strengtheners before you actually start the class. If you can come to a class early enough, you should have enough time to give yourself a little chance to warm up a little bit, and that would definitely include the wrists for sure. So thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you guys next week for my next bit of free yoga game. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.